Ozark TV. Ozark TV.
So the crawl space started on 7th and Sargent. It was a basement venue for like 2 years. It was really cool and crazy things happened and there was a lot of parties. And then after we moved out of that house, we decided to legitimize a little bit more, and we got to work with Dream Theater, who we're very lucky to have in Joplin. And they let us use their space for 2 or 3 years. We were very lucky to have them. We did shows there for a while, and now we kind of just book shows wherever anyone will let us. We have a new space now that's semi-permanent, and we like to do shows at Blackthorn and kind of anywhere we're allowed. We're kind of hard asses, honestly. I was just joking about that. I think DIY venues are really important to a community. I also think all ages venues are really important to a community. Specifically Joplin, I think we have a lot of people and kids under 21 that just want to be creative and have a creative outlet. And I remember being that age and not having anywhere to go or not having anywhere safe to go. So I really value, honestly, all the work we put into the DIY scene is mainly so younger people and older people and everyone is welcomed and they have a safe place to freely express themselves, I guess.
It's 106 miles, Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, a half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. We the Blues Brothers, baby.
No, I'm fine.
What you gotta say, Jake?
At the crawl space, it's a good time.
Not only the Almost Moose, but we also got the Sunset Circle, and we've also got the Caves.
It's a good time.
It don't get much better than that. It doesn't get much better than that. I tell you what. We got blues, we got funk, we got grooves.
It's a good time.
It's so great.
There's a crawl space show tonight, and we're dressed up for Halloween.
Okay, so as a booking agent and business owner, there are like 2 types of venues. There are bar venues, which are your traditional, play at Blackthorn, play here, play there. DIY venues are great because they're usually built by the community and the locals. And so honestly, why the pay isn't as good, usually there's so much more love and atmosphere and community building. And that's really where the value is with these DIY venues, because I work at the crawl space as sound and just this and whatever we need to do. And it's pure love, man. Whatever we put together, seeing the people show up for it, everything about it, it brings the community together in a way that's personal on a level that you don't get when you go to a bar in your local hometown to see a show.
It's very important to have a space where everyone can just come. You don't have to worry about being an unsafe space for anybody or anything like that. And I don't know, it's just important to have local gathering spots and places where people can just come and where bands can not have to worry about maybe playing things that they don't want to play. They can just play what they want.
Okay, do I hold it like this?
Please get us the emails! Please!
I have a Glock.
No! No, don't do this to me here. I would never, man. Don't do this to me here.
Like, they're the real venues. Like, they're like where the most stuff happens, I feel like, with the bands starting out or actually like in local music scenes. Like, you know, we depend on DIY venues, especially like the crawl space like this, where it's kind of like, it's very DIY. It's just a really cool, like, just good vibes. Like, good people come to good local shows. So it's greatly appreciated, I'd say. We've been coming out to Joplin since I was a senior in high school. So we started coming out to Joplin to play just like house venues, and we played with a few bands like Tennis Club, Space Dingus, a bunch of really cool bands. Joplin has a great scene, so it's easy to make our way out here. It's even worth the drive, technically. Get away. Okay, I'm sorry.
Halloween, oh man, I'm excited. Local music, I think it's great, man. It's refreshing because you see all these big names all the time. It's nice to just get out and hear something new, especially close to you. It makes it more, I don't know how to say, like, what do you say? What's the word I'm thinking of? More personal. When you go out to a local show, you can go up and talk to them, and that's a great question. They're always nicer. I get a lot of indie from us. You know, I don't see a whole lot of pop. I see a lot of metal, a lot of feelings here in the Midwest, and I like that. We're very emotional beings over here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Izzy Perkins.
I love local music.
Local music is.
I like it when it's good. Fun fact, Almost Moose. I was a fan since 2019.
Yeah, before, because they broke up and got back together.
Yeah.
And now they're really good now. They were good, but now
They were good in 2019 too.
No, they weren't.
I think Gateway's pretty sick.
Gateway is cool. I'm dating Dan, who's in Gateway.
I'm also
Addie's
in
in
Gateway. Yeah.
Gateway.
This is just a Gateway ad.
Venues like this, like I said, I mean, I've been hanging out with Almost Moose. They've been showing me a whole lot more venues and different places. They're all really cool. I like them a lot. They're just very underground type-ish, where nobody really knows about them, but they do have a really good cult following, and I do like that a lot.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of good bands around here. Here Now is a good one. There's three right there, right? There's three on the spot. There you go. Everyone's got to get their start somewhere here now, especially people who have an actual passion for this type of stuff, and it's glad we have like a little community, you know, around the area who helps support, get these shows together and stuff. Definitely helps out in the long run, you know.
Ozark TV.
I think Joplin is more talented than people give it credit for.
If proof you're after, feast the eyes upon me stump.
I think there's a lot of incredibly, not just Joplin, just in the Midwest in general, but there's so many talented people. Spaces like this, it showcased that
and allow people to see how talented people are around here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I've lived here a while, and I never really knew, like, just all the talent that was around.
You know, I think that there is sometimes a feeling that comes with going to certain venues. Like, you know, you play a coffee shop, you kind of have the idea of who's going to be there, what you're going to, you know, be a part of. And it's usually a little more chill and relaxed. I feel like venues like this gives people a chance to just kind of, you know, open up a bit more, have a great night, be themselves. I mean, look, I showed up in a Leatherface costume tonight. And I know that there's going to be people here tonight that are here to have fun and are not going to just sit around and like look at somebody or, you know, judge how they're looking or how they're doing on stage. It really gives chances to other bands to just kind of have a little bit of breathing room. It doesn't feel like there's any real pressure on you to be something. You just get to be who you are on stage here.
I've grown up here, and so we used to have a lot of live music venues when I was young, and they've all kind of closed down and aren't available anymore. So you don't see a lot of like just local bands or an ability to see like and be introduced to local music. And then Shelby started doing this at the theater where I worked at, and we started having, you know, the bands come in and play and amongst the play sets and stuff at Crawl Space originally. And it was just really cool to be able to have that again in the town that we live in, to be able to have access to discover all of these new bands just by showing up at a place where you trust the people that are choreographing or picking the music. I love music and I love live music, so being able to have access to live music and local bands that are, especially ones that are making their own music, even if they are cover bands or whatever, to be able to support those up and coming artists, to be able to have the experience to go and then turn around and tell other people about it, get that word of mouth, and just support your local community of artists and help prop them up, I think is really important.
I think DIY is just important. I think there's a lot of gatekeeping that goes on in the music scene, not necessarily in Joplin, just in general. And I think it's important to have those spaces where it's a little bit easier to get booked. It's like maybe chiller space for a first show, something super like low pressure, I guess. I think that's important for bands just starting, and even we get people like the Caves who are professionals and they want to still come and play with us, so that's awesome. We also want to just like be open to more multimedia things, so like people that want to read poetry or do live theater or whatever, we would love to be more open to stuff like that. We love doing shows and having bands, but we want to be across the board. Arts is something we want to focus on.
The Crawl Space. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, it is.
I like it.
But you know what I like better? A nice, cold, slight ice cream, you know? Nice little milkshake. Now that's some good shit. Gateway, gateway, gateway. Get on that shit. Gateway, gateway, gateway. We out live, and we here, and we rocking, and we rolling.
I think in every circumstance, expressing yourself is the most important thing you can do in your life. And having people there to support you is the driving point of everyone's mental well-being. It is beautiful vibes. We're at the Crawl Space. The Crawl Space is a combination between every good vibe Joplin has to bring and the most unsuspecting location possible, right off of Main Street. This is a different facility now. They were across the street before. So this is my first time here, actually.
For one, I'm hoping we get more venues. We really only have 3 or 4 venues right now, and Some of them are better than others, no offense. That's just, I love each and every venue, but like that's just also business and how things go and the economic, socio-political climate. But I see things getting better. I was playing shows before COVID hit, and then COVID hit and everything literally died. And now things have started to come back in the last year or 2 or 3. And I only see things getting better from here and attracting bigger and better bands, whether it's through the Cornell Complex or through Blackthorn really being consistent with their gig schedule, the crawl space opening back up at a great venue like this. I think Joplin's definitely growing and going places, and I think it's not going to come down to any one thing. I think it's just going to be a matter of honestly diversity. We're going to get a lot more punk, we're going to get a lot more metal, we're going to get a lot more indie, we're going to get a lot more this and that. And it's a really beautiful thing to watch happen, because I do remember a time, 3 or 4 years ago when there was nothing going on and everyone was in their house and they were sad.
This is such a sick venue. I really like it out here because like you got this whole courtyard, and then like there's so much cool shit set up right now. Like you get a tarot reading, there's a costume contest, and there's like 3 whole fucking bands, like, and they're all really good sounding.
That's true. Yeah, it's nice that it's outside partly, like for part of the show. It's a little crispy cold outside. It is. In a good way. In a good way. Yeah. It's a good way.
I think at the beginning, we were all just wanting to have a good time, and we were all musicians, and we bonded together by jamming. I think that's where it started, is we would just store all our music equipment in the basement, and then we would jam for like hours and hours and just drink beers and jam and hang out and just enjoy the community. And that kind of turned into like a more open invitation to invite local bands and our friends' bands. And then once we made a lot of friends in the music scene, it was really easy to be like, oh, well, our friends of friends are in a band. And then we started booking further out, Fayetteville, Kansas City, Springfield, like bands from all around the area wanting to play, or me begging them to play and them finally saying yes. So really we were just partying and jamming and listening to music, and it kind of became a whole event. And I'm not in a band. I love music, but I don't have enough balls to be in a band. So whatever I can do for the music community, I'm gonna try to do.
I think a con is, especially in our area, is just kind of there is a lack of spots, a lack of venues in general. And, Joplin has a pretty good music scene, but there's definitely room for improvement, and just kind of maybe the support's not there as much as it is in bigger places like, Tulsa or Wichita or places like that. But a pro is definitely the people that, you connect with really are there for you. They come to every show and very supportive. Definitely can't appreciate that enough, for sure.
A pro of Joplin is probably the music scene and the hospitality and the dope-ass bitches that live out here, like the cool people. There's a bunch of cool people. Honestly, not even gonna, did not expect that out of Joplin, Missouri. But it's cool. Everyone here is rad. And then what was the rest of the question? I'm so sorry. I haven't taken my ADHD meds, so it's like, we're just chilling at this point. The cons. Oh, shit. What are some cons of Joplin or Missouri? Well, also another pro. I'm still stuck on the pros. Weed's legal, which is really sick of you guys to do for us from Kansas. I guess there's like technically cons in every like small town. If it's like a small town, there's like gonna be like really like weird asshole like who are like flying Trump flags and shit like that. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's fine. They're about to be in nursing homes anyway, so it's cool. I don't know. There's probably more cons. I don't live here. We visit, so most of our experiences are like pretty positive. So I can state a lot of pros about Joplin for sure. There's a really cool community here that we have been able to invade. Yeah, I fucking love Joplin. I got pals here, so yeah.
The scariest thing about Joplin, Missouri, related to this or just in general? In general? I mean, honestly, I'm working in the news. I see a lot of crime, and I see a lot of things that, people probably wouldn't expect to see going into the job. And I feel like as we're getting bigger, it's getting a little bit worse. But that's why I think things like this are important. It is kind of scary at times. But that's exactly why local music, venues are such an important thing in my life, because it helps pull me away from the hardcore reality that we have to see sometimes.
Scariest thing about Joplin, that's a great question. Maybe 7th at night? I don't know. If you're trying to walk 7th at night, that's pretty scary, man. But I love it. I love 7th Street. It is just, you gotta keep your eyes peeled,
I can think of a lot of stories that are bad. Not bad because I had fun, but bad because they're so crazy. We had, like, whenever we were in the basement at 7th Street, we had this band called Kid Computer. They are awesome. I don't know if they're a band anymore. They were from Kansas City, and they had this super psychedelic set. It was like an hour-long set, and I remember during one of their songs, they would pause the vocals to light joints and then hand them out to the audience, so like all the audience was smoking, and we kind of like hotboxed the whole room, and it was really fun. And then they ended up putting their legs up and hanging upside down from the rafters of the ceiling of the crawl space at the time.
Scariest thing about Joplin, Missouri? I don't even know. I'm not really too scared of Joplin.
The walkers is what I call them. I call them the walkers. I was actually born here. I moved to Kansas and I moved back. I live outside of town now. The scariest part about Joplin, Missouri are the random people walking 24/7. It doesn't matter if it's 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning. There's always people walking next to you, and they're never nice. I actively wear boxers in public, and they go a little bit above my knees, and they pass as shorts every time. No one knows. This brand is literally called Boxers with Pockets, and they have pockets.
I hate to say this because I've come to love Joplin a lot. I didn't grow up in Joplin. I grew up in Seneca and Bella Vista. But having lived here, almost half a decade now, the scariest thing is 7th Street and the cops. 7th Street because it's Route 66, so it's historic, but at the same time, it's such an unloved, untended to part of town that it definitely shows, not just in the street, but just in the people. People tend to be very rough, and they need more love and help. They deserve more love and help. And then also the cops. The cops get bored, man. They'll pull you over for fucking anything. Joplin cops are some of the worst cops. I don't want to be anti-cop, but ACAB, motherfuckers. Free Palestine. Fuck this shit. So yeah, avoid Joplin cops because they're petty as shit. And that's the scariest thing about Joplin, I would say.
The scariest thing about Joplin, Missouri?
The pedophiles!
The pedophiles, the men, definitely. But on a real note, like, people getting stuck here, like, this is not a place to, like, live for your whole life. It sucks that people get stuck here. And I am not going to be one of those people. When I watch this video later, and if I'm still here in 5 years, I'm going to cry.
I'm leaving. I'm going back.
Honestly.
Or like Cali.
Honestly, I think one of the scariest things about Joplin has to be the tweakers that carry around big ass swords and big ass metal rods.
Swords?
And they chase people. They chase teenagers with these swords and these rods.
That's scary. Happy Halloween, I guess.
Happy Halloween.
What's the scariest thing about Joplin, Missouri?
The scariest? No abortion rights. It's fucked up. I shouldn't have to drive to Kansas to save my life or my family's life. That's pretty fucked up. Also, we have a horrible homelessness problem. I would say that's something I wish the Joplin city would be more proactive about generally. We have a lot of really good spaces, warming centers and things like that, but they're not funded much or at all, as far as I know, by our city, and I think that's pretty fucked up. But as a community, we can work to change those things, so that's what's awesome about being in Joplin and in a city that's small enough where your voice can be heard, but also big enough to where I can have bands from Phoenix, I can have bands from LA, I can find those bands that will come play because we have a great scene, but also I can let my voice be heard in my community and change the things I don't like about my city. So everyone should do that.
There was a house party once. There was a house party once. The OG crawl space. Hell yeah! Oh, dude, you should show it. You should show it on camera. You should show them the tattoo I gave you. I really hope it's not one of like the super bad ones.
You can't even see it. It's right here. It's a Band-Aid.
Oh yeah, no, I'm so glad you got that covered up, gal. Like that's awesome. The new tattoo is way sicker. There were like a couple other people here tonight that also had tattoos that I gave them. Like it was all from one night being in Joplin, and I just drove out here for funsies. I didn't play at all. I just wanted to hang out. Like it's kind of cool. I was like, yeah, it's worth the drive. But I ended up tattooing like 20 people. Yeah, like Wilson from tennis club, I came up with the idea to give him a tennis racket with the cursive W in the middle of it, and it was his first tattoo ever, and I was like, you're gonna regret this. Like, you're gonna regret it. But my tattoos suck, so that's why I do them to friends who won't sue me. In living rooms, yeah, for sure, Z's. Wisdom or advice for the people? Oh, God, that's such, dude. No, I'm not gonna blame you. Like, it's fine. Like, I'll think of something. Keep starting bands. It's a lot of fun for everyone else. If you start bands. Even if you think you're gonna suck. I did too, so. And now we like are still doing it. Even if we do suck, like we're still doing it and we have fun. So start bands. Yeah, that's it. I think. Oh, smoke weed.
Like I said, I didn't know the venue. And I was like, man, it would be hilarious if I was just in the very front center with an 8-foot-tall chicken costume. And then I quickly realized that it's really packed, and I don't want everybody to just be having to look around me. It's definitely bigger than I thought it was going to be in person. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, you're a bit more familiar with, you've been going to shows a bit more recently than I have around here, so.
Empty Letters is really good from here in Joplin. The Electric Motherfuckers from...
They're the one from Pittsburgh. We have a little story about them. It was in September 2021. I think it had to have been 21. We had a friend come down from New York, and he knew this band through the internet. And so the Electric Motherfuckers and the lead singer Frick O'Braun, he performed in our basement, and we had a little house show just in our basement with some friends. It was the first time they ever played live together as a group. It was so much fun. It was so incredible. I think they should probably get more credit. You went to one of their shows at Blackthorn, right?
Yeah. It's a good time. Yeah, that's also where Empty Letters played, and Eye Creatures is another really good one. I mean, honestly, this is my 4th show now, and I don't think I've come across a band I didn't like. It's pretty great. Yeah.
What was that like throwing a basement show?
Oh, I mean, it was absolutely terrifying just for the idea of like, do we have enough space for them? We don't even use this basement, so like, is this gonna be like a disgusting place to be? I didn't even know them. I'd listened to the lead singer Frick O'Braun's solo thing, like his solo music, but this was the first time I ever heard the band perform, and it was incredible, and all of my fears were completely set aside, and it was amazing. I think there was like maybe 10 to 15 people max for their first show, we tried to give them a receptive, we tried to like mosh and do our own little thing with just about 10 people. We were worried because we had some neighbors, and we tried to warn them ahead of time that we were going to have some live music perform, and we shut the garage door or the basement door, tried to keep it as quiet as possible, and the next morning one of our neighbors came and said, why didn't you open the garage? We would have loved to have come over and listened. People want to listen to music as much as possible, live music, and sometimes you got to open the garage door.
Almost always awesome. I've really had very few like bands or just negative experiences with bands overall. Like almost every band asks the right questions, they show up on time, they're nice people. Like honestly, overall I think I've had an incredible experience, and I've probably gotten really lucky. And it's nice that a lot of these bands, if they're not already our friends, whenever they leave, they're our friends. So it's nice that we can have like a friendship relationship and a professional relationship.
How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty great, actually. Don't get to dress up for shows that often. Halloween's kind of one of my favorite holidays, so it's a pretty good night already. Yeah, just off the top of my head, well, I love Here Now. Townhouse Fire. I really like Townhouse Fire. They got a solid sound, and honestly, some of the best people to work with. My third, got me thinking. It's kind of different from the other ones, but I really like Ransided too.
Local music, I think it's important. There's a lot of good local music here in Joplin, for sure. I think it's important to participate and support. I'm gonna say the Caves that are playing here tonight. The Caves are pretty awesome. I'm gonna say Verbose. They're pretty great. They played their first show back in quite some time, just last weekend, and they're great. And Granger's awesome. Everybody listen to Granger. I like Candy.
3 underrated bands? You might have picked the wrong. I literally just come to these for, I'm friends with people of Almost Moose, and I think they're definitely underrated. A couple weeks ago, I went and seen Buckshot Princess. I feel like their turnout should have been a whole lot more. Never heard of them, but just happened to be at the bar while they were playing. They were really good. Same with Pillar Reef, saw them at the same night. Haven't seen any of the people here tonight, so I don't really know yet, but I'm sure they'll be about the same.
Man, I really like Eye Creatures. They've always done a good show. I can't remember what the name of Lauren's current band is. Do we remember? I don't know. Lauren Fisher, she's had a couple different bands. She's amazing. Her vocals are just always on point. I know she's with a new band. I really, really enjoy her. And then I like some old school ones like, we had Toto Jojo, Josh Mullen, Ben Miller Band. Those were some really cool like bluegrass kind of hippie music that came out of the area that I really enjoyed. I think it's definitely important to keep promoting stuff like this to give a safe venue for young people where they can have access to music and different culture or counterculture, whatever you want to call it, that's fun and safe, where they're not doing something dangerous and worrying about like drugs, alcohol, and that sort of thing. To give them an alternative is, I think, really important.
For one, Space Dingus was a big inspiration to us. They're not really playing a lot of shows anymore because they've all gotten older and life happens, but they're super big. They're on Spotify. Go check them out if you haven't. There's this band from Texas called, I think, they're called like Bong or something, but they're a punk band. They're fucking incredible. We don't get enough punk representation here in the 4 states, so definitely props to them. And then honestly, like the K's. The K's are like one of the biggest things to happen in the 4 states area locally, and they're just fucking amazing. They bring surf rock to the Midwest in a way that haven't been done before, and they're really taking off, and it's been inspirational and really joyous to see them grow and do their thing and just be themselves, you know, and listen to their music as they evolve.
3 underrated artists from the 4 states. And that's a great question. Modeling, I would say they're not necessarily underrated right now. They're getting their love for sure, but they deserve more. They're a great band over from, I think, Arkansas, Fayetteville. Maddie J. May, I think, here from Joplin. She has a beautiful voice. Not enough people listen to her, so people should definitely check her out. Here Now is really great. Here Now is a great band around here. They're local as well, and they're just a bunch of talent in one group. It's awesome to go see.
Also, can you tag somebody in? Like choose somebody of your
You say something, man.
Say one thing.
Don't do drugs. Stay in school.
Yeah. Don't do drugs. I'm not gonna target this at
Just do a little heroin. It's okay.
Cigarettes kill more than drunk driving.
Seriously? Oh. That's kind of crazy. Wait, oh no.
Keep places like this alive, because that's what keeps the scene alive. And it needs to be here because there's nothing else in Joplin.
Exactly.
And this is what places like this are what motivates you to leave Joplin, because it's
Exactly. Because this is a good place, but there's like so many better places that are like this. No offense to the people who run this, but Joplin is not the place to live. It's small. It's not. It's small. There's nothing to do here. Party City is closing. Party City!
Where do you see kind of this area's music scene headed?
I think that's a very controversial opinion or question, and that it depends on who you ask whether our music scene is shit or our music scene is the best thing in the 4-state area. And I feel like I fall somewhere in between. I think our music scene is incredible, and I think a lot of people in surrounding cities would say like, oh, we wish we had a scene like yours. And then there are other people that say like, oh, 10 years ago we had this band and this band and this band, but I try not to measure it on like growth and like the number of bands that we have. I think we have a really strong community of people, audience members and bands, sound producers and visual arts people, really just incredibly talented people in Joplin. And I think as long as everyone keeps it up, I can't see it going downhill at all. I think it's only up from here for sure. I heard you ask this question to Sophie, so I was thinking about it, because I didn't want to be put on the spot. But my dad used to always tell me, and it drove me insane, he would say, wherever you are, there you are. And I really internalized that. I know it's a quote from someone, but I don't remember who said it. I really internalized that because I used to be the kid that would like, I hate it here, I'm gonna fucking move to New York and be famous and blah, blah, blah. But like, all I can do is make my surroundings better and make friends with people that I think are good people. Whether I like where I'm at or not, like I can have positive experiences. So even if you don't love Joplin, or you don't want to live in a small town, or you want to move away, like you should do those things and experience the world or whatnot. But also like, don't forget to experience the community you're already in and like enjoy your surroundings while you can. We had a great show. It was awesome. I want to keep doing shows here, and I'm gonna do shows forever until I die. And that's all.
Thank you.
I saw a homeless man carrying a pickaxe. And then I told Coin Toss that, and they didn't want to come play.
I get it though. When I was homeless, I used to carry around a hammer named Old Yeller. It was for protection.
It has a name. Yeah.
Old Yeller was there for you and you only.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
Wait, can I try?
Shout out, wait. Shout out Adrian for making the video.
Pop Hitchcock.
Thank you, Addie.